everybody's doing well this Friday. I'm here in Portland, Oregon, kind of wrapping up our little quick tour and escapade out here to the Pacific Northwest. And this morning, I'm honored to have our good buddy, Cody Cox, join us. So good morning, Cody.
Good morning, Scott.
Excited to have you. I'm just tweaking a few things here on the, let me just get any feedback from everybody. So, how about Cody? We've been each other for about 3 years now.
About that.
About 3 years now. And Cody's been an active real estate investor for a long time. He used to be on the board here and kind of run the RIA club meeting here. And now he's just an active member.
Trying to stay active, trying to stay involved. A lot of things going on with the group as well, and it's changing and growing.
Yeah, and so Cody's been a note student for about 1.5 years now, and actually been part of the mastermind, gone through the fast track. And over the last 8 months, is it 10 months?
Yes, since October.
October 2016, we closed on 12 deals.
12 notes, yeah.
And that's great because you're also working a very full-time job that's very active with you, right?
A very full-time job, kind of a high-level state government job. I actually run a home loan mortgage company for the State of Oregon Veterans Association.
Nice.
So it's a big deal.
Right. So tell them, everybody out here who don't know Cody Cox, a little bit about your background and industry and real estate.
Well,
like that.
Yeah, I got started in the mortgage industry in Walla Walla, Washington.
Walla Walla.
Yeah, exactly. And that's 35 years ago. Come this September. So it's like once you get mortgage in your blood, it's hard to get out of it. I've tried to escape it a couple times, but it just doesn't happen.
No, it does not.
Yeah. So I used to be the guy that when you called your 800 number to talk to the mortgage company, I was the guy that answered the phone. So I had to know a variety of different things and went through that, from servicing to payoffs and assumptions, all that sort of stuff. And then moved to Portland from Eastern Oregon, from Walla Walla area in 1994, and was the lead admin assistant for the head underwriter for a major savings and loan here in Portland. Actually, one of the things on my resume is I was a commission loan officer for the RTC.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
that's
so,
right. We had a conversation.
Yeah. So I've been doing this, and I've been an underwriter. I've been a DU underwriter. I've been an account executive. So I sold money to mortgage brokers. I was also part of the State of Oregon hardest hit funds team. I was the servicer liaison, so I had 225 different servicers that I was the single point of contact. And here for about the last almost 4 years now, I've ran the mortgage corporation for the State of Oregon Veterans Agency.
Lending has definitely gotten a little bit different in the last few years.
It has a little different. Now we require people to qualify.
It's just fog of air.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So, Cody, you've been? Let's talk a little about your real estate investing.
Okay.
Kind of how you get. What did you start doing? Did you fix and flips or rentals, or what's kind of you've been here?
Well, we kind of saw the writing on the wall in about 2006. 2007 when you were doing 80-20 no income verification investment properties, and it became pretty apparent for us that things were going to change. And so we put into motion, basically joined the Northwest RIA, started learning some things. I actually was a Rich Dad student for a while. I still have some of my money, and but it kind of is a natural thing for somebody who's been in the mortgage industry so long. So we actually, did some wholesale deals. The first house I flipped, I walked out of escrow with a check just a couple dollars less than $100,000. Yeah, and then 3 months later, I was fired from my job because nobody wanted to lend money. They tried to show that the wholesale business, the broker business, was part of the problem. So as an account executive, nobody was buying from us. So I was unemployed for 16 months and started doing some wholesaling. Ran this group here, and finally got to the point where I finally did get another job, and decided that since these day jobs, which were something I had to do,
gotta put that on the table,
kind of basically preempted what I was trying to do from a real estate investing standpoint, because to try and flip a house or wholesale a house or put a house under contract, there's a lot of marketing, there's a lot of telephone calls, meeting with sellers, and I just didn't have time for it. And so that's when I started looking at this thing called notes, and I'm kind of going, the dark side. Resistance was futile.
That's right. Yeah. I gotta use that next time.
Yeah. So I
Nicole, Jen, in the office, Greg, you guys have put something together for that. They're already watching.
Yeah. So I started doing that, and I never really kicked it into full throttle until you came in. you came to Portland in March of 2016, I think it was, and it kind of got me thinking. I remember my phone call to you.
Yeah.
And it's, Scott, how do I do this? Your
Right.
first question back to me was, what took you so long? Or what changed your mind?
Yeah,
what changed your mind? And so everything I've got going into me right now is to try and replace the day job.
Yeah.
I actually, these last 2 days, I took some vacation time, and it just seems natural for me. It's just what I think I want to do, and just the flexibility of being able to do what I want, when I want, and help people out directly, by working with these borrowers who've ran into some sort of difficulty, try and see if we have a way to modify them, a way to help them find a solution. And it's been really, really good.
Right.
And it's just kind of the way I am.
Right. And it works in well with your ethics and exactly what you feel, and actually your job as well. It works and we see a lot of success with the ex-mortgage brokers or people in the mortgage industry, because it's basically, instead of going out and qualifying people, you're buying stuff and trying to re-qualify them to reinstate or modify. But you bought 12 notes over the last few months, working 40, 50 hours a week.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people that are working full-time jobs, like, well, I don't have the time. And so what are 2 or 3 of the things that you do consistently every week that keeps you kind of plugged in, it keeps you moving that ball forward? Because everybody has a different time frame.
Sure.
Everybody has a different speed to success and moving forward. So what are probably the 3 biggest things that you do that you see the biggest bang for your buck time-wise?
Well, the first thing I have to do is establish my why. And I have to get my spouse, my wife, to buy into my why. Yeah. And she has. And so we've established about 3 or 4 nights a week and Saturday mornings for me to actually do the business.
Oh, nice.
Now, the week starts off on a Sunday, because every Sunday evening I send out a communication to a database of about 1,400 people. And so that's just kind of my marketing. And really what it is I call it my emailer, because not really a newsletter, because there's no news other than what I'm doing. So it's follow me on my journey. You guys get to come along with my journey. And this is what's happened the last week. Here's what's happening next week. And that kind of kickstarts my week. And so Monday night, I'm looking at tapes, trying to do the same thing on Wednesday and Saturday morning. So that's kind of my discipline, if you will, because it takes that kind of discipline, because there's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of people grabbing for your attention and a lot of different things. So if you want to make this work, and I've got this drive right now to make this work, I've got to follow that pattern, that system. You talk about systems all the time. And so part of that system is not only managing vendors, but managing yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you've been doing your Sunday night email, which is always very well written. And literally, it's a journey of what he's going through, whether he's traveling or he's working on this week or the assets are breaking down. It's like, hey, what's going on in the life of Cody Cox, no investor, for the most part. And you also share stuff that's going on the legislative side, the mortgage side here, with what your job. So you do a great mixture into that. It becomes really a great. But you started doing it. How many weeks have you been doing it now, off the top of your head?
It'll probably be about 80 weeks now.
About 80 weeks.
Yeah, I actually started it just right after you were here in March of 2016, because one of the things I found is I don't have to reinvent the wheel. If I listen to what you say and folks like you have already played that way, it works.
It does work. And you've done that. And when did you start seeing people respond to your email?
It took 6 to 8 weeks.
Really?
It really took a little bit of time, because all of a sudden they get this, and first of all, they wonder, how did I get on this list? But then eventually they started seeing it, and then people were interested, and I got a couple speaking engagements, and you just show numbers. And really, as far as somebody wanting to invest with me, when they see the numbers and see that they don't have to really do anything, they can passively invest with me.
You're being the project manager, the field
manager.
Manager.
Exactly. Yeah, that it works. It works for them too, and they're all very pleased.
I was visiting with a couple of your product lenders here last night that we're talking with you after, because I was up here speaking at the Northwest last night to a packed house. It was a great group. I think we had a good time there. A little slow to start off. The other green was kicking in or kicking out with the TOT. But it's you leverage your local relationships. You started pulling your database. You've grown your LinkedIn followers and use that on a regular basis.
Yep.
So you got your email that goes out.
Mhm.
What are two other things that you do on a regular basis?
Well, I try to be visible. I mean, part of the Northwest REIA, I try and get some of the meetings. So I was here last night, saw a lot of people that I haven't seen for a while. One thing about Northwest REIA is they have about 8 or 10 different subgroups around the city.
Right.
So try and go to those and just be visible.
Right.
That's the deal.
You were doing one thing for a while here, where you were doing like a special interest group, a meeting before the meeting.
Yeah.
You want to talk a little about that?
Yeah, I called it Note Talks, and that's really what it was.
I love that Note Talks.
Yeah.
See, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it is. And it is, we had a meeting the first Thursday of every month, right before the Northwest REIA General meeting. We gathered about 5 o'clock, gathered on the meeting starting about 6:30, and we just sat around and talked about notes. And for the most part, that type of investment strategy is fairly new for this particular region. And you've probably seen that there's not a lot of folks quite yet. It's growing in popularity, not only locally, but nationally. And we sat around and talked about notes. And from that particular venture, and I think I did it about 6 to 8 weeks, it kind of morphed into something that I didn't want it to attend. So I put it on pause, but there's more discussion about bringing it back because I'm better than I was then. I know a little bit more how to manage the direction of the conversation than I did then. And I was in such a growth ramp-up period there that I was just trying to suck everything up. And I'm not quite that desperate yet, at this point.
Well, what happens a lot of times, you started off to networking, to find interest, and it attracted a lot of new people that didn't know. You didn't want to get in the educational aspect of it, which I can understand it, because you have a lot of people come in that are asking you questions that are taking away you from being focused on raising capital, but it did well.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you were sending me text messages, hey, I just walked out of a meeting. I just walked out of a meeting.
Yeah, I was in one meeting here a little over a year ago. There was like 45 people at the meeting, and I talked, and I walked out of that meeting with pledges that came close to $2 million in pledges.
Say that again. $2 million in
$2 million in pledges, private money pledges that wanted to work with me.
Right. So it's just a matter of you then finding the time to find the deals to bring that into and kind of marry the two together and make it a trifecta of success. Yeah. Happy money, happy investors, and happy Cody.
Happy Cody.
Let's not forget about happy life too, right?
True. Yeah, that is true. Yeah. And so the only thing that has restricted me is me. That's the whole deal. And so trying to find that balance, it's transition time for me, and trying to devote the time that's required at the day job and the time to ramp this up and get it to the level I want, where I can kind of say goodbye to that. That's where I'm at right now. So 2017, probably into the early part of 2018, is a high energy, let's make this happen time. So I'm excited for the rest of this year. We're halfway through this year now. So I've got 6 to 9 months to really make something happen. And so I'm excited what the future holds.
You're doing a great job, as you guys, the tapes are looking on. You had a couple funded, you had another investor. You just closed on a couple deals recently. You want to talk about those deals a little bit to everybody out there?
Well, I think a lot of the folks that are familiar with some of the HUD loans that were around, that were available here in the last couple of weeks. So I was fortunate enough to pick up 2 of those. But it was a very short timeline, and I had one investor that has been really, it's very interesting to me that, some of the investors say, would you find something? Would you find something?
Could you go ahead and spend my money?
Yeah, exactly. So what's a guy to do? But he was able to find, I was able to fund this deal with his investment within 24 hours of acceptance of my bid into that tape. And so the responsiveness is awesome.
Right.
And the fact that this guy has more capital that he wants to deploy with me. And so part of my charge, not only with this particular individual, but about a dozen more, is being able to deploy the capital. So not only is it working for me, but it's working for them, and it's also working for that homeowner, because I try and focus in a similar model to you, owner occupied, been in the house, trying to find a way to rehab that borrower.
Right. That would be a good time. You guys have questions for Cody, to go ahead and post those to the comment section below here in Facebook. We'd also appreciate if you wanted to share this to your page as well. I'm going to dive in a few more questions here with Cody, but we'd love always to hear from questions from the audience, for those that are out watching this right now. So please take a second to go ahead and ask your questions. Jen and Nicole in the office, can you go ahead and make a comment there as well in the Facebook comments? You guys do such a great job. Good morning, everybody. Good to see everybody out there. So let's dive into that private investor, because that's always the biggest thing. How do I raise capital? How do I get somebody who's got $500,000 to say that, Cody, please find something, please spend my money?
Yeah.
So let's talk about, how did you meet this individual?
Well, this guy was referred over to me, actually. We have an IRA company here in the city of Portland that's pretty prominent locally. They set up self-directed IRAs. They allow you to do it on a checkbook basis. And my understanding is this investor contacted them saying, I've got some capital I need to deploy. I'm looking for a certain type of returns. Well, I put this IRA company on my mailing list, knowing I'll never really get something directly from them, but aren't they a good referral source? And so he called me, and we met for coffee 2 or 3 times.
So you got a referral, from an IRA company. Now, do you actually use that company?
I do, yeah. My first self-directed IRA was with these guys.
Cool.
And so it's funny how that worked out. And so
you get a referral from your email, or reaching out.
Yeah.
Think about that, everybody. That's a pretty smart idea, to put individuals with that work for vendors, or self-directed IRA company, employees, people you meet out networking, put them on your database, because you never know when a warm referral is going to come. So, IRA company refers this guy to you. You go meet for coffee. Let's talk about that conversation.
Yeah, well, that conversation basically is the thing that I've got to make sure I'm doing, because if this guy is going to fund a $50, $60, $80, $120,000 deal, I have to develop a relationship, and I have to develop some trust. And that's the first thing I really think I have to sell, because when you show them an ROI calculator on a specific deal you're working on, that kind of sells itself. So really, I have to gain this trust from this individual almost from the beginning. And I'm pretty methodical on who I talk to as well. I mean, there's been 4 or 5 or 7 people that I basically say, I don't think this is going to work.
That's okay.
And it's okay for them as well. And so it's a matter of building that trust, showing them the numbers, and then I make sure that I touch them 2 or 3 or 4 times before we really engage in something. So I have, I always have them sign a non-disclosure agreement. I have my investor profile.
An investor profile sheet, basically a questionnaire from the individual. What's their experience? What's their background? Are they accredited? Are they not accredited? Where's the money coming from?
Sure, yeah.
It kind of helps Cody check off some red flags that might pop up as well. If you've been to one of our virtual workshops, we've provided that questionnaire in there as well. So you're going through that, you're talking with them. Did it take a couple meetings?
Sometimes it does.
Sure.
Yeah, sometimes it does. Sometimes people say, what do I do next?
Yeah.
And so I give them those 2 documents. I also give them a look at my joint venture agreement, because I want them, transparency is a big deal to me. I want them to take it to their attorney or any of their other resources or counsel and look at that, and we'll be flexible with that to a degree. But once they see who I am, my flexibility, the fact that I've got 35 years in the mortgage industry, I was the RIA president, I was on the hardest hit funds team, I now run this big thing. I think I'm kind of uniquely positioned to be a visible and hopefully high quality note investor for my investors.
Right. And so you put out basically like an executive summary, and you talk about your vendors. You talk about how you're not the guy that's calling. You're not the guy that's foreclosing. You're literally, you're locating these assets, you're identifying, writing down the due diligence, and handing the ball to your running backs or your wide receivers to run the ball down the court or down the field to make things happen. Okay.
Go ahead.
No, that's good. That's good. So you met with a guy. Did he write a check right then there for you?
Well, it ended up happening a couple times, but I said, no. Because you want to make sure, like you talked about last night, there's no commingling of funds. So what I do next is I have a subset list within my mailing list of folks that have signed my NDA and provided me the investor profile questionnaire. And so as I'm working on something and I come up with 2 or 3 and I've got an indicative bid accepted, boom, I shoot this thing out to those guys.
To your hot list?
To my hot list, yeah. They like to be called VIPs, so I call them my VIP list.
That's good. That's good. Very important people. That's right.
And so they respond that way. So and so that's what he did. He responded to that way. He has what I would call a significant amount of capital he's ready to deploy. Yeah. He told me, he's got things in various places, but what I can bring to him is his best ROI number.
Right.
And that's what he's looking for right now. And so that's what I'm providing to him right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then he actually turned around and handed you more money. So okay, I got some more money.
He I don't know if we want to talk numbers or not, but
Let's leave it blank. Let's just say it's significant, six figure.
It's good.
We were figuring last night if he were to deploy all that money in some different deals, he could literally walk away. And so Cody could walk away from his job to do this full time if he wants to.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of finding the deals. Now, a couple of things that was really great about Cody is Cody basically was making bids on these HUD pools, and one of the things that made it very desirable, not only to the seller and for us helping that we're brokering the deals on behalf of the seller, was that Cody could close quickly. He's like, listen, I love these 3 deals here. I'm willing to meet reserve price on this. I can close in less than 72 hours. Let's get this thing done. And that made it very, very desirable.
Sure. Yeah.
But you set up some specific things, and I want to make sure to go back to people to realize this. You send out a regular email.
Yep.
You have a list within a list.
Mm-hmm.
What do you use for your email?
I use MailChimp.
So MailChimp's really easy.
It's very easy.
You can track your open rates. You're seeing an average open rate of what?
On the regular emails, it's about 16 to 16.5%. I get 100% open on my VIP.
Hang on a second. How many people are on your VIP list?
I think I got 32 right now.
Okay, so 32 investors. And what would you say the average amount that each investor on there has said that they would be willing to look at?
Most of them close to $50,000.
Okay, so he's figuring he's got literally, you figure that 32 investors with an average of at least 50.
Yeah.
Some of them will have more than that. We're talking.
Yeah.
But that's over 1.5 million in private money.
Yeah.
32 people. How many people would it take you guys to raise 1.5 million? If you're figuring 25,000 per individual, what is that? That's 40 people. Well, it's actually, he's probably closer to 2 to 3 to 4 million if he wants to be honest about things. But this is something you are. Exactly. Very honest about things. But this is what I'm trying to get at for those out there. Because we had a lot of people that want to do something, but they're scared to take those steps. Now, let's go back the opposite way. We talked about good things. Did you have any backlash to your emails? Do you ever get any negative Nancy's that respond?
Well, every once in a while, I get people that say, go foreclose on those people. And they do it in a very cynical kind of way. Because they don't fully understand what we're trying to do. And I try and make a point in every one of my newsletters to say I'm trying to help that homeowner, because at the level that we operate, we can have a better relationship than they did previously or with the bank that originated the loan. But there's still folks out there that think that, geez, I'm a mean foreclosure guy. I'm the mean guy, which
it's a truth. I mean, but you're not mean, but it's a fact of the business.
Yeah, it is.
You're going to foreclose probably about 50% of the time. And if you're focused on owner-occupied assets, people are just going to have their head in the sand or shove somewhere else and not do anything. And I'm willing to bet the people that are saying those negative things probably have never pulled the trigger in a deal to begin with.
No, probably not.
Yeah. And what's a beautiful thing, you can hit a little button called unsubscribe on the email and they're off your list.
Yeah, and that's fine with me, because I want that email to go out to people who are going to appreciate it, they're going to understand it and read it. And I've told you this before, is the people that unsubscribe just create a new place for somebody else.
Yeah, amen to that. Amen to that. And it allows for your open rates to go up because you're not sending email to people.
I thought about that.
Cool. Another thing you just started doing recently, you've been doing over the last probably 2 months, on a pretty consistent basis, is your Friday strolls.
Yeah, I do a Friday stroll, and I'll probably end up doing one a little bit later today, because it's just a way. I take a walk every day anyway. I'm trying to take a walk every day, and just while I'm out there, it's a great time just to kind of talk a little bit. It's usually 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, and something that struck me odd or something that I observed, or just touching base what's going on. But it's a nice time just to walk and talk and get some things out, and it's kind of fun. And I'm trying to find a way to develop that to a higher level too, and learn from the ones that do it best.
Well, you're doing a good job. Well, you just share what's going on. A lot of times, some of the past you've been on your way to the I won't say the legislative here, going through a study or series or a vote or something like that. So that's always been very fruitful. But you're doing it consistently. You're starting to see some followers follow you on that and like that. You're also have taken the challenge that I threw out last Friday. You want to talk a little about kind of what you've been seeing?
Well, the Instagram stuff is kind of new to me. Okay, I've been on Facebook for a long time, and my intent with Facebook has changed. I had a son that was in the Marine Corps. He was deployed overseas,
yeah.
so that was one way that I could kind of keep
5,
track of
yeah.
him.
Uh-huh.
And so, but it's morphed into something. But now there's this thing called Instagram, and I'm still trying to learn. And so, yeah, you put a challenge to see who can grow in a greater percentage from where it was on the day you issued the challenge to like September 6th or 4th or something like that. And so I'm trying to grow that, and it's, you know, it's kind of a fun thing. You know, I'm learning what this hashtag thing is. Okay, what is this thing called a hashtag? You know,
used to be known as the pound symbol.
Yeah, it's really. And so.
Or the number symbol.
Yeah, something like that. So I'm learning that. I've had not only you but others make sure to remind me, put some hashtags there, and so, you know, I'm starting to get it. So. And the fun thing about that is it makes you really think about your post.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're going to put some hashtags down there, they've got to be meaningful. They've got to have some sort of you know, weight to them. So you think about it. What did I just post? What's going on here? And what do I have to a hashtag there that would you know, add to what the post is? And so it makes you be a lot more thoughtful about what you're throwing out there.
Yeah. So you're throwing down infographics. One of the things you could do is literally put a picture of all the 12 assets you closed. That's one thing that I would highly recommend. It always does really well.
Yeah.
And some of the hashtags, and then I'll tell you what, Nicole, once you do me a favor while you post this, because I'm not typing here, throw out some of the hashtags that we use with a lot of our marketing, because we use real estate, notes, you know, we close notes. We also use life of note investor, entrepreneur, real estate, SDIRA, cash flow, retirement, entrepreneur. I think I already said that one, but those are some of the basic hashtags that we use in there. And that helps draw following. Now, Instagram is based on photos, and we're a very visual photo society, as you'd say. We have a very short attention span, but that's what's great about using Instagram is you can throw a photo up there with some comments or photos, and it attracts people that are often either looking, just strolling through it, but using the hashtags allows for you to identify with people. Like if I want to look for anybody that's interested in real estate, I just do hashtag real estate, and it pops up people that have that hashtag. That's why you want to post those things so it shows up in the directory. If you don't have any hashtags, any people looking for real estate or retirement, it's not going to show you. So you've learned and adjusted it and doing a great job with it. You're bumping. I think based on some of the numbers you're sharing with me last year, I think you're kind of leading that aspect, that contest that we're talking about doing.
That's good to hear.
That's good to hear.
Give me things to read.
But you can learn a little. You can learn new tricks, right?
I can. That's right. Yeah. Well, it's like we said earlier. I mean, you just do what you're taught, and things. I'm not gonna. I don't have the time to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
I'm not gonna do it. So I will borrow strategically from the things that are working for others.
There's nothing wrong with borrowing.
No. I'll give it back when they're ready.
So let's. We talked about your email you do on a regular basis. Talk about your note talks, and let's talking about. Did you meet anybody new here last night?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the things that, you know, I was the president, but it's been almost 3, maybe 4 years since I've. And so there's new folks that come into the RIA all the time, and yeah, I was backed up against the wall by 3 or 4 new people. You know, just to talk about what's going on. Sometimes it's hard to get to the speaker after it. So,
well, I did a thing. I drew up to Cody. Last slide I showed us some successful students I mentioned, but Cody's face is close 12 deals.
Yeah.
Because he's doing a good job. I like highlighting people that are closing deals. Oh, no, hey, no problem. It helps. It's a win-win across the board. It allows you to answer questions that I can't get to exactly. But what were some of the questions that people were asking you about your deal flow and experience or anything like that?
Well, you know, one of the questions is where do you get deals from? You know, and so, you know, you explain to them that, you know, there's hedge funds, there's banks, there's certain techniques and marketing strategies to get those, and try and make contact with those folks. And, you know, I was talking to them about, you know, one of the things you have to be very cognizant of is what do you do when you get that tape? You know, and those are the kind of questions that get asked all the time. And how do you get involved? How would somebody get involved? What do you think that they should do to get started?
Right.
And so, you know, I usually try to tell them, well, why don't you fund a deal for me and peek over my shoulder?
Learn while they earn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
that's smart. That's smart. Like, hey, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to teach you, but I'll go ahead and put your money to work, and you learn while you can follow my footsteps.
That's right. Exactly.
That's a great pattern to look at there. Thing for you. Looking back now, because you're coming up on about a year, what's been probably the biggest mistake that you've made along the way, or the biggest hurdle that you've overcome with some things?
I think for me, the biggest thing is I sometimes get in a hurry.
Okay.
Because I want to grow.
Mhm.
I want to grow at a measured pace, but sometimes I get in a hurry.
Mhm.
And so on a couple of occasions, I've missed something in my due diligence that comes back later, and you have to resolve.
Mhm.
And so that's the main thing is if I don't discipline myself, if I don't structure my time correctly here, that when it happens here, you've got a bid deadline or something you need to get or whatever. If you haven't disciplined yourself in time to get that done ahead of time, then that's when I get in a hurry, because I still got to try and find myself to catch up. So that's the biggest thing, is to make sure I don't go faster than I should be, and make sure I'm doing the analysis that I need to make sure the numbers are there and that there's no liens. I'm working on one right now. There is actually, when I looked at the O&E report, there's a recorded memorandum of land contract that never got cleared when she refinanced it out and brought it into her title. So I'm trying to work to find out if there's a way to insure around that, what happens with that. So that's the kind of the things I learned on a previous deal to make sure you're looking at this one here. So yeah, I can learn.
Well, but a lot of people do that with getting their systems down. And a lot of times they get excited about the deal. They're like, oh, I'll get that later. Well, you got to avoid, as I call it, OTSC syndrome. OTSC syndrome is when you're looking at pictures of property like, oh, that's so cute. I really want that because that's so cute. You got to realize it's a numbers-based system, and as you're working through your due diligence and going through your checklist, every aspect of it's important. It's not very time consuming. It's just you got to find the time to do it, right?
Correct.
How long does it take you to, when you're looking at due diligence initially, how long does it take you to break down an asset now this time?
A single asset, once I decided that this is one that I want to take a look closer at the numbers, for the most part, a lot of it's process of elimination.
Sure.
You get rid of the ones that you're not going to want to, then you've got this 10 or 12 or 15 from a tape. And I can look at each one of those within 15, 20 minutes now. Just a matter of making sure I run the numbers, look and make sure there's any taxes owing on it, and then trying to run some comps. And once it fits within my parameters, then I'm trying to find a local agent that will go out and shoot some pictures, run me a local CMA, and then hopefully prepare that. Just again, a lot of it's a process of elimination. And if there's some that survive that, then those are the ones you look to pursue. But not 15, 20 minutes perhaps.
Yeah, that's pretty normal. It's checking values, jumping on the websites for the taxes, the local office, making a phone call if you got to. Yeah. And then
I'm getting to know the people of Wayne County pretty well.
Wayne County where? Indiana?
No, Michigan.
Michigan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's some opportunities there in Detroit.
So there's a lot of opportunities.
Yes.
Definitely. There's a lot of people that are buying stuff in Michigan.
Yeah.
Are there any networks that you dive into outside of Northwest Rio?
Well, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. I try and do that and trying to grow that. I do a little bit with Active Rain, not as much as I probably should, but that's also a good thing. But then there are several different on Facebook. There's several different note groups that I try and participate in, and that's also, you learn from people who've gone before you, and those folks are contributing and they'll pick up something or have a comment or a concern of that. So those kind of groups, I think the social media groups have been very helpful for me. So yeah.
You're leveraging your network.
Yeah, and then of course, the Mastermind group has been a great opportunity for me because there's some really, really good folks out there that know what's going on. They've been around, and they've got two things that I really like. Most of them have great attitudes, and they have this spirit of co-opetition that you've talked about. So even though, we may be looking at the same tape, bidding on the same assets, I've found no animosity. I've found no, intensity against anybody else with the folks in the Mastermind. So it's been a good group for us.
That's because there's plenty to go around, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's no shortage of product. That's one of the things I tell my investors. It's easy to say next.
Let's see here. We got some comments here. Can't keep up with everything you're doing, Cody. One day I will. Great stuff. Thanks, George Crocker. George is doing a good job, though. Just a post on here. Make sure to type in your questions there on Facebook on the comments so we know to ask. Laura Blunk says, great job, Boom. Doing a great job, Cody. Let's see here. Hi, Sarah. Good morning there. San Antonio. Hello, New Braunfels. Hello, Austin. Here we go. Awesome. Good stuff. let's talk about a couple things before we go grab breakfast here in a little bit.
Yeah.
You're leveraging your network. You're growing that every day,
Mm-hmm.
every week. You're adding new connections. I sat down last night and talked about a few things to help you out with some stuff. You're talking about getting pulled because you're in a position inside the Oregon VA or Veterans Affairs Mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it correctly, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That they've got some expense. They got some stuff going on.
Yeah.
You kind of feel like you're the kid between mom and dad, getting pulled in two different directions.
Yeah.
How important has those systems? How important are the systems going to be that you've put in place to help you keep going forward? You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. They're absolutely vital because I get up at 5:35 every morning.
Mm-hmm.
Prepare lunch, get ready to go catch on a commuter bus.
And you got about a 40-minute commute.
About a 40-minute commute, yeah. And so it gives me an opportunity to listen to podcast or something, some sort of educational thing. And then I get up at the office. I'm 7 or 8 hours in this office dealing with this stuff, and then I got to commute back.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when I come back, it's been a long day already, and I'm tired.
Yeah.
And so by establishing these systems right up front, I can just flow right into it.
Mm-hmm.
And that way it walks me through it rather than me to do next.
Right.
And that's the whole key to those systems. And every successful business has to have a system that it's just something that they can rinse and repeat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm trying to do. And of course the systems tweak a little bit along the way. You find a little something better. You hear a little something, maybe just something imposes itself that you need to deal with. And so you're tweaking, I'm constantly tweaking the ROI calculator because it always seems like there's a new fee from somebody.
But the beautiful thing is you're buying cheap enough. You got plenty of plenty of prop in there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. That's not a deterrent at all.
No,
you just got a platform.
Add in every state's a little bit different. You got to add a little bit of that stuff. Sorry. I'm going to take it a little bit on the opposite side here because.
Okay.
Yep. Christina, you're right. It does the ROI calculator saves a lot of time in pulling stuff down. Every ROI calculator is a bit different. If you go back a few episodes, we spent some time going through what you kind of need to figure into your ROI calculator and go from there. But one of the great things is last night is you had Wanda here with you.
Uh-huh.
And Wanda was actually excited. She shared some information with some people about no investing.
Yeah.
How's that dichotomy kind of evolved for you with Wanda over the last year? Because Wanda helps you out some with stuff, but she's also very busy herself doing things, right?
Yeah. She's got some family things that she's got to attend to. So, but I think she's excited to see where this could go. Mm-hmm. And she wants to be a part of what this all is. And so, she's gathering as much as she can, as much info that she can. She hasn't been in the mortgage industry for 35 years, so there's still kind of a learning curve that goes on. So part of my charge is to try and find those things that I can hand off to her right away. And one of those simple things is, and we've talked about pipe drive before, which is kind of one of my systems tracking stuff. Well, she can board a new file into that without any sort of problem.
That's great. You got to combine it.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest things that when I talk to investors is getting their spouse involved. And some spouses are more active than others.
Yeah.
But giving them something to do so they feel like they're adding. Well, they are. They totally are. Not making like just feel that you feel. But that's what a lot of spouses say. If you're out there married or have a significant other who wants to be involved, you've got to delegate some of the stuff to them. And it's not going to be the same thing initially. Maybe something very simple. It's like, hey, can you pull photos for this one? Or can you jump on the website and check taxes? Little things like that gets them tied into looking at stuff. Maybe it's calling asset managers, or maybe it's just pulling IRA investors or stuff like that. There's all sorts of little things to do, but you've been adding things along the way.
And the only reason she's not doing more is because I have this got to control thing, and that's my fault. That's the weakness I have. But we've always wanted to find something that we could do together, and investing in notes really does provide that opportunity to do that. Because there's things that she's skilled at that she can do, and there's stuff that is my highest and best use, and trying to find a way to mesh those together. Is what we're doing. It's all part of that system.
It is. It's a constant evolution. You're not the only person that struggles with that. Everybody does. And willing to delegate and going from there. your next big thing that you're working on is bringing on also an assistant of some
I
sort
knew
too.
we'd get to this.
You got to get to that a little bit. There's nothing wrong with wanting. It's great. A lot of husbands and spouses work together. But also with you working full time, you've got to have somebody there kind of helping with your social media, helping people do diligence and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so you started that process.
I started that process. The biggest thing I have to figure out for myself is what would I have them do? What am I comfortable in releasing to a third party? And I've heard that conversation a number of different times.
Happens all the time.
Yeah, is to figure out what I would have them to do, certain skill levels, going through the interview process. And so that's what I kind of got going in my mind, back in my mind all the time is, if I'm going to hand something off, delegate something to somebody else, what would that be and what level would I want them to perform at? Sure. And that's kind of where it's just like, I'm so used to working for the government that you have to write out these descriptions, these job descriptions, or they call them PDs, position description. So I'm mentally writing out that PD for whatever sort of VA and hiring.
Right, and it's not the easiest thing. I mean, you're looking at some stuff on Upwork. It doesn't have to necessarily be somebody local. It could be somebody that's a little remote. Yeah. I would I'd pick up the phone, call this group.
Okay.
Pick up the phone, give her a phone call. She's got her VAs that do a lot of stuff for her. She may be able to, if she puts somebody in with you initially that's already trained for you.
Sure. Yeah. That's a great idea.
But if anything, she can give you some tips and some pointers on some stuff. Because she's got the video series they do with notinvestingclub.com, but it's also, hey, she's trained plenty of VAs down to the point where she's traveling the country. Her dentist is back in RV. Liz, Dennis Smith, I hope you're having a good time out there. Don't be eating too much food now while you're traveling, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's in the trailer.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of people struggle with that. But there's always one of the big things that I'm a big believer, and I see this happen, is that if you bring on an assistant, it should add 60 to 100 grand in income to you because you're having them do things that frees up you doing and being more productive. Whether you're making, say you're making 100 grand and doing everything yourself, well, if you bring on an employee, you're paying them 40, $4 an hour if they're remote, or normal fee where they're paying them 40 grand a year or something like that. That should still allow you to go out and spend that time to make another 100 grand. So you're now exponentially growing your time. Your hour becomes that much more valuable because you've kind of cloned off somebody on the side to help you out with, and you're working a full-time job. So it's hard cloning somebody because you only got 10 to 15 hours a week that you're going to do. Is that how many hours you think you're working roughly?
Yeah, I think that's about right. I'll get on the Mondays and the Wednesdays and the Saturday morning, 3 to 4 hours each time. So I kind of, that totals up to about 12. I think it is. And part of that evaluation is I'm writing somebody else's position description. I'm also rewriting mine because the deal of it is what is my highest and best use? What am I good at? What's my skill out that I want to retain? And I know how to do due diligence. I know Excel spreadsheets, but they're not my favorite. So that's
they're not everybody's favorite.
Yeah,
but it's a necessary evil, shall we say?
It is.
Quickly, what's your top 5 market? We talked about Michigan.
Okay, sure.
What are other states?
I do Michigan. I like Indiana. Yeah, I got several assets there already. I like Ohio. Okay. And I like the Carolinas, and a couple in the St. Louis area. So Missouri. Yeah. So that's kind of the areas I'm focused on right now. I think that for right now, that provides me with some assets to look at. They seem to be growing small. The Midwest, Rust Belt grow at a smaller rate than maybe the Floridas or some of the other places. But I think that works well for me. And at this point in time, now again, as I go along a little bit, and the capital base continues to grow, there'll be some other places that I'll take a look at. But I think those are the ones that I like. And you have to be careful. You have to look in the right areas. You have to kind of have some local knowledge. But again, there's resources out there if you take the time that you can study the local markets and where really to go. So it used to be Detroit was very, very scary. Yeah. But there's some places in there I have found. I mean, one of the ones that I have that we turned into a reformer, and they're paying 3, 4, 5 months ahead now.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so,
what's the numbers on that? You do know off the top of your head?
I think the yield I've got on that. Actually, I one of my investors invested with this IRA on that, and I think he's going to get about a 14% return when we finally end up liquidating that at some point in time. So, yeah, it's not a bad little deal. It's not a huge loan amount, but it's the nicest house on a little street in Detroit. And it was the borrowers actually inherited the house, so they were not even the original borrowers. But it's all worked out.
A lot of doing a lot of assumption basically on that.
Yeah,
Nice.
exactly. Yeah. So and that worked out well, and my investor's happy, and I know I'll hear the words that I love to hear. Let's do it again.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again. That'll rub your ego pretty good.
That's right. Yeah. Not that I need that, but
Well, that's the beautiful thing. If you
Yeah.
perform well,
Yeah.
it turns out other things great in there. What are the questions you guys have for Cody out here? I know we've been going on a little bit here, but it's always good to hear it. So let's talk about some of the aha moments I think you shared. The fact that you've done an email 80 weeks straight.
Yep.
You're meeting with investors. You have a VIP list. You're
Yep.
using your different lists in there. You're working your systems.
Yep.
I think the biggest aha moment was putting the vendors into your email list for warm referrals,
yeah.
which is priceless. What would you figure? Okay, so in your 12 deals you've done, how much in total funding amount was it? How much in total private capital?
I think we're close to, UPB, I could probably give you roughly about $600,000.
In funding amount?
No, in UPB, but in the funding amount is probably roughly about 300,000.
300?
Well, actually, I would just add, it's probably close to 400,000.
Yeah, because there's two deals there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think. So UPBs could be across the board. It's kind of, it's great to know your debt you're buying, but it's kind of irrelevant in today's thing. So you're funding about 400,000, and any idea of the value of those 12 assets? Over $1 million?
Probably close to it. Yeah, probably close to it. Yeah.
So roughly 40 in the 40% value range. But I would look, because I want to bet you're over $1 million in that value.
Yeah.
Do you ever think you'd be $1 million portfolio manager?
Not at this. No, not really. I guess I don't think I really was, because you kind of got your head down. I had no boss who used to tell me you got your head down, the wheels in the ditch, and you're just kind of cruising on through stuff, taking out a few mailboxes every now and then. But sometimes you just kind of have to look up and see where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
We're all set goals. You're really big on us setting goals. Well, every once in a while we got to pause and see where we're at on those goals. And I think a year later to look at those goals is not the time to do it. Here we are in the middle of the year, and we should see how far are we on those, and what do you need to do, where do you need to have a little bit more focus, and just kind of reassess. I heard something once that the casinos in Vegas run a balance statement about every hour. How many times do we run a balance statement in our business or a profit and loss or whatever to see where we're really at? Because you don't want to get down the road and find out, whoops. So
a lot of investors checking account. They have no idea what's coming in and going out. And running a P&L statement, profit and loss balance sheet statement is very important. It gives you an idea of where you're at. And a lot of investors don't do that. A lot of real successful entrepreneurs don't do that, which is very, very scary out there. We got a couple questions here. Christine asked, what kind of warm referrals are you putting in your emails, Cody? So what he did, Christina, is he literally just added people to a that work at a self-directed IRA company, vendors that you met out at local RIAs, you took business cards. He put them just in their database, and so they're on his email list that they get his weekly email. So what happened is, I think you missed it earlier on, a client set up a new IRA account with his IRA company, asked, hey, I got to put some money to work. Who should I invest with? And the person in the IRA came and said, well, you need to call Cody Cox. Or he did an email introduction. I'm willing to bet.
A little bit of that. And then we had a call and got together for coffee and just, talk about life.
Right. We have that happen quite a bit with Quest IRA. We have that happen with Mid-Atlantic. We have that happen with IRA Trust Services. Your self-directed IRA companies and vendors are some of the best that you want to have and make those relationships. So whether you're going to a local RIA meeting or going to a local IRA meeting or going out to an expo, your vendors are one of the biggest things. That's one of the things I look for. When I go out to an expo, first thing I look for, okay, who's funding, what funders are there, and what IRA companies are. And let's go make sure and go up, introduce myself, get some business cards so I can add them to my database to make things.
And that's, two things I would add to that is, I came out of the meeting last night with 3 or 4 business cards of people I've never met before. Boom, they're going on the list. The other thing is,
that's the thing. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
A lot of people will collect business cards and never put them on a list. And so, did you go home immediately last night, or you're gonna do it this morning because you were drinking wine with Steph in the bar here till a little late?
Well, I'm gonna get a nap in.
Right.
but yeah, they're going to get on it. And in fact, I had another potential investor come up to me and says, "Can you, when are we going to do something?"
Mm-hmm.
That's what his words. Well, so he's going to go through my process. I've known the guy for 5 or 6 years, but it's still the system. He's going to get my investor profile. He's going to get my NDA, and I'll give him a copy of the draft of the joint venture agreement before we do anything, because you just got to take those steps and repeat it every single time. The other thing I would say is that anytime you get a new connection on LinkedIn, capture that email and put it on it. You know, whether they're an asset manager, and I have an asset manager list, it's about 200 now. But put them on the list too, because those are the people that are doing business somewhere. And I've actually been able to talk to some people as potential joint ventures that are in other parts of the country. That, you know, whether I'll sit down and have a coffee with them or not, I don't know. But at least I'm doing those touch points to make sure we both understand the expectations of who does what.
Right. Yeah. And one of the great things about LinkedIn is you can actually export your contacts and pull those emails out you connect with. But you also, I don't know if you've done this, taking your email list, export from MailChimp, and upload it to LinkedIn. Have you done that yet?
I haven't done the backwards one.
So that's, you can do that. Upload your list and go out and find the people that have those emails. If there's anybody with a profile on the email list, and it'll help you grow your LinkedIn connections. So you can double team kind of them across both. And you also take your email list and upload it into Facebook as a custom audience that you can do as well there for you. So a couple things there to kind of touch points. You always hear about 80% of sales made at the 5th contact. You're touching base with them in a meeting. You're adding them to LinkedIn. They're going out to your email database on a regular basis. And then you're also connecting with them either on Facebook or other things as well out there. So you're speeding up that 5th contact to where it's a couple weeks versus 5 or 6 months.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's cool. Any other questions, comments for Cody before we wrap it up here for the day, everybody? Appreciate all the great comments. Feel free to share this across you. This is a valuable thing. I know we're going a little bit longer than we normally do, but hey, it's great stuff.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Please share it everywhere.
Help Cody raise some more money, right? I feel a little like Jay Lewis. A telethon here. Let's get some more Jay Lewis partners for Cody Cox. That's there for you. Favorite deal you've done so far? Let's wrap it up with your favorite deal you've done so far.
Well, what is my favorite deal? Well, I think one of the things we bought this. I bought this note with an investor on a little property outside of St. Louis. Okay. And it turned out that it was not owner occupied, and we didn't know it when we purchased it. And once that borrower got the letter of the change of ownership of the note, she became current, just like that. And it's now a reperforming loan. So it's like in the past, she never really bothered to making her payment. And I've always wondered about, if you are a landlord and you get rent from your tenant, what's going on while you wouldn't make the mortgage payment. But in this particular situation, she decided that, you know what, maybe this guy's going to do something that the prior one wasn't. I don't know what through the process was, but all of a sudden I've got a more valuable note simply because it's now current and she's making regular timely payments.
How many payments has she made so far?
3.
3, okay. So it's on the way to semi-performing.
It's on the way to
You know the
semi-performing.
numbers behind the deal, what you paid for that?
I think I paid $34,000 for the note.
And what's your monthly payment?
A monthly payment is like $475, something like that.
So let's run some numbers up. Just a quick thing. So 475. 475 times 12. That's $5,700 a year roughly, and then divided by what you pay for the note. 34,000. That's a 16.7% yield for you. Now she's got some arrearages to make up.
She's got some arrearages to make up, and our goal would be to try and resell that at a reperforming within about 12 to 16 months.
What's the value of the property?
72.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. So let's figure that. 72,000 times, actually, hang on a second. So 475 times 12 is equal to 57 divided by what's the value?
72,000.
2,000. So that's an 8% yield if you did that way. You sold it straight up for basically the value of the property. You're going to want to intensify that. So let's figure 72,000 times 0.8%, 80% is. So you sold the note at 57.6. Yeah. 5,700 would be a 10% yield to somebody like there. So that's a pretty. It's a nice $20,000 return on the back end. So you're making 17% throughout the year. Yeah. And then you got another 20 grand.
Yeah, those numbers are probably pretty close, but I figured at the point that if my worst case ROI was at 30, then both myself and the investor would end up with at least 15 on a 12-month turn. And That's not too bad.
That's not too shabby.
Yeah.
That's not too shabby. So, yes, I would agree. Good stuff. Good stuff. Cody, thanks for coming in. I know you had a little bit of a drive coming in this morning here
Yeah, no
with everybody up here. You can find him by looking at Cody Cox on here. He's also Cody Cox 4320 on Instagram.
4320 on Instagram. Yeah, help me. 4320.
Cody Cox 4320 on Instagram. We'll throw that up there as well for everybody to follow Cody as well in his journey. You have a website that people can check?
It's www.trinitynationalholdings.com.
Trinity National Holdings, is there an opt-in page there?
There is an opt-in page. Now, I do got to say is I must be important because my website is under attack. And so don't go there yet. It just happened within the last couple of days. So I think,
Who's hosting your website?
A place called DreamHost.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So,
right.
yeah.
Good
And then,
times.
so it's just part of the growth, the business growth, and it's something that we're all having to deal with. So
Good time. I know a very, very prominent Facebook advertiser manages about 200 grand a day in Facebook posts. Has a website host with that, and they're also having trouble with stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a thing that they're getting. You see that with hackers going to some of these bigger hosting websites. But hey, it's all right. TrinityNationalHoldings.com.
Yep.
At Cody Cox 4320 on Instagram, and check him out. He's also here on Facebook as well. And
check out my profile on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, there you go. It's a great way to connect with him there on LinkedIn as well. So thanks again, Cody, for joining us.
You bet.
See you.
Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome. Up there, clicking up your Facebook page. Yes, if you follow Cody on Instagram, he'll probably follow you back to help out with it.
That's right. It's a mutual thing.
Cool. Hey, everybody, I want to thank you for joining us today. Make sure to share this across your platforms if you like it. If you like a topic that you want us to cover on these knuckles, just feel free to post here. Send me a direct message on Facebook so we know who to cover and what to cover. We're always glad to do that. And we look forward to seeing you guys all the time. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thank you.
And go out, close some deals. We'll see you guys all Monday. Bye, everybody. All right. We'll wrap it up with that.
Damn, that was fun.
It is fun, isn't it?
Yeah.